You're watching Public Affairs. Berkowitz is my name, and politics is our game. And we'll be doing lots of politics and public policy today because we have as our guest Phil Andrew, who's running in the Illinois 9th Congressional District Democratic primary. So Phil Andrew, candidate in the 9th Congressional District Democratic primary here in Illinois. What's the key thing that you would do if you were in Congress? What's the most important issue to address? Well, give me 3 or 4 right off the top of your head.
I would say safety, that people need to feel safe. Secondly, they need to feel secure, that they have an opportunity to pursue the American dream and that it's within reach. And I think we have to address issues around affordability. And I think the last piece is we need a healthy dose of accountability within our system. People feel like government, Congress, politics just is not recognizing or addressing the problems that they face every day. And I think that has a lot to do with the polarization in our country and our electing people who are really in this to get reelected. And that's why I'm running. I think people, if we want something different, we're going to have to elect different people. And I represent those qualities.
Affordability, safety, and
accountability.
And accountability.
Affordability, right? Safety, and accountability.
And that means...
But I think you need to put safety first.
Somehow you've got to have a bully pulpit because a lot of people, when they talk about affordability, they can't afford the property taxes on their home. They're burning their property tax bills in North Lawndale when they've gone from $1,500 per household to $3,000. They're similar in middle class, higher income areas. So you've got to do something about crime. Maybe, again, your bully pulpit. Maybe the federal government can somehow lead. We have to have a crime system that works. When people are criminals, when they commit crimes, we have to arrest, we got to prosecute, we got to try, convict, and then sentence and imprison in jail, not probation. Well, anything I've said that you disagree with?
I don't disagree, but this notion of just trying and convicting, I think that the whole system needs accountability. We need accountability for identifying a youth that's on a trajectory toward prison, and we need to bring those proper interventions. And even as we bring accountability for those that do commit crime or are involved in violence, we have to surge in the resources to make sure that we don't see recidivism. And our criminal justice system needs a lot more accountability for producing the results that we can bring if we bring a holistic approach to it.
And our education system needs a whole lot of accountability so kids can learn how to read. So they say, I can't read, so I'm going to leave school, drop out, and then I'm going to go turn as one of my options to a life of crime. If they can read and they can see progress and they're going to have a career, maybe they're going to turn less frequently to crime.
There's no question that education...
We got to do something different on public
absolutely.
Education.
We need to reform our education system, and we should not be satisfied till every child has the same opportunities to grow and to succeed. And we have the capability of doing that. What we don't have is a national strategy or leaders who are willing to courageously dive into that and make sure that that system is accountable.
And we say you're an FBI guy, 20 years in the FBI. You know, you dealt with hostage, dealing with hostages who've been taken, hostage negotiator. You're dealing with crisis management, and you know something about foreign policy, right? So did we do the right thing in a 3-year war in Ukraine? What would you have done differently? What would you do now? In 30 seconds.
I would have given the Ukrainians more support quicker, that they are courageously fighting a war to counter the aggression of of Putin. And I think they need our support. And I think that we need a better national security strategy. The one that this administration just released actually pulls back and makes the world a more dangerous place.
You don't like tariffs, do you?
I don't. I think that tariffs, in this case, have been destructive to our economy.
All right, but you do like the Gaza-Israel peace that has evolved under Trump. Would that be fair?
I don't know that it's evolved under Trump, but I think that there are conditions here that we need to be surging in with a clear eye toward peace. Some people,
Obamacare.
Some
I
people
forget.
love the ACA and they don't like Obamacare.
Whatever. It's the same
And
thing.
it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. So the point is, but the debate that's going on right now, Democrats are saying, look, you got to do something right now. These subsidies are going to expire for Obamacare. And so you got to do a 2-year extension, a 3-year extension. Republicans are saying, we don't want to do that. And we may not even do a 1-year extension. We want to see some reform.
Yeah.
So we can stop subsidizing, which was supposed to be more accessible and lower price care, and has turned out to be not so accessible and higher price care.
Yeah.
So the point is, if you're in Congress right now, as you know, Democrats had a plan. How many votes did they get in the Senate in their Democratic plan?
Yeah. Yeah. Not enough to get.
That was 51, right?
Right.
Republicans had a plan. How many votes did they get? 51, right? How many votes does it take? Because some people are deceptive. It's the Republicans, it's all their fault. They control everything. They control the House and the Senate. Phil Andrew, straighten it out. How many votes does it take to pass a bill in the Senate?
Yeah. Well,
60, right? 60?
Yes.
Republicans don't have 60. They got 53.
Right. That's right.
So my point is, what would you do? Could you get a plan that works and get 60 votes in the Senate?
Well, what I intend to do is work very closely with colleagues to bring some coherentness to healthcare. That absolutely,
Republican and Democratic.
yes,
colleagues.
absolutely. That in every state we have people struggling with the cost of healthcare, and what we need is affordable, accessible healthcare for everyone. This is both an economic challenge for us. This is a well-being challenge, and we need to be working together. This cannot be something that's on a razor-thin margin. We really have to start working together. That we've got a long-term vision for how we're going to provide for healthcare for our country.
Well, and so another aspect of affordability are taxes, because it's not just prices. The cost of government, state, local, and federal, extremely high and getting higher. I don't know, 40 to 50 cents on a dollar goes to government. People say capitalism, freedom. There it is right there, capitalism, freedom, Milton Friedman, right? People say in America now, the Democratic Party is socialist going on communist. Well, you got a Democrat, they say, who's fully in on full socialism running New York City, right? You got Bernie Sanders, who is almost running for president, still may do it, who's unavowedly, unabashedly a socialist. Not a little bit.
There's
Are we
no
a capitalist? Are you a capitalist?
I believe that we've got the best system in the world where somebody can take an idea and find support for that idea and then innovate and bring it to the marketplace. I think that we've shown that in our research. We've shown that in our
Sounds like you're a
schools.
capitalist.
I believe that this is a country where someone who works hard and can bring an idea that it blossoms better than anywhere else in the world. But I also think that we've created a lot of headwind and we've created some imbalances that need to be worked out. And some of that is our political process. Because of what you're describing, these extreme voices that pick certain issues to try to run on and get reelected on, and then the other side doing the same thing, just taking a counter position, hoping to win a reelection, instead of focusing on the hard problems the American people want us
If Trump's
to address.
big, beautiful bill didn't pass this year, 2025, next year, 2026, federal income taxes would have gone up enormously. It wasn't a tax cut. That bill was to prevent federal income taxes from going up enormously. Would you have done something and maybe supported that bill, at least to the extent it prevented federal income taxes from going up enormously across the board, low, middle, and high income?
I think that is a bill that was created for partisan reasons to cater to certain segments and special interests within our country, as opposed to a long-term strategic plan that recognizes that all of these things are interrelated, whether it be a plan for healthcare and how we provide for affordable, accessible healthcare, how we treat immigrants, having a coherent migration plan that welcomes people who bring skills and opportunity and actually do some of the work in this country, inviting them in and not chasing them out.
Doesn't let 8 million people, as happened under Biden, walk across our borders without being vetted.
Well, let's be clear that open borders are not a solution. Having a
No, but he
clear,
did have an open border policy, right?
which was,
Did 8 million come in basically unvetted under Biden?
I think that we've had, for decades, we have not had a serious, coherent migration problem
I know,
solution.
but while you're developing it, do you let people just come in unvetted? Would you ever do that? So
I would-
now,
I would
excuse me,
not.
but don't we have a problem? We have a lot of people, millions perhaps, who shouldn't be here. If we vetted them, we would say no. I don't know how many, but the point is we don't
would
know.
challenge-
How many people do we have here who in their home country committed crimes? Okay, would we let somebody come in their home country they'd committed crimes? Really?
I don't think that we should.
Criminal, violent crimes.
And I think
right?
that having a secure border,
How do we find those people?
I think that we have the capability. Look, I'm a public safety professional. I think that it
So how do we
does.
do it? How do we do it?
Well, sometimes it takes time to vet someone.
Okay.
But one, you cannot have an unsecure border.
Okay.
You do need a coherent plan for how you find whether somebody has a criminal history or not. And then you have to deal with the folks that are already here and assimilated properly, have taken jobs, are doing the best they can to abide by the rules, haven't committed crimes. And what process are we creating for them to become legalized in this system? So this is not rocket science. To secure a border, vet people that come across the border, assimilate those that are here that have not committed crimes, and recognize that that is one, what this country is built on. Two, that our economic
All
viability
these problems
for the future.
All of these problems you acknowledge are major problems. We've covered a lot.
Let me just say this, though, that all of these major problems have been exasperated and ignored by a highly divided and dysfunctional Congress. And I think a lot of that has to
okay, people
a
get
lot of that
confused.
has to do with who we send.
You have something to do. You have a bully pulpit. So although education, K through 12, public education, is basically a local issue, there was in the big beautiful bill, if the governor of state wants to opt in Illinois, where people could have school choice. Because as you and I have talked, enormous data out there that show Chicago, the last 25 years, their average rate for literacy among blacks, the rate of percentage reading of blacks reading at grade level, 10 to 20%, up and down. Hispanics a little higher, whites somewhat higher, terrible. Across the state of Illinois, at best 40% reading at grade level, 60% aren't. So a major problem. And the Democratic Party solution, I can tell you, is let it go. Just let it go. Because I've never heard Governor Pritzker say what I've said about the data. He says we're number 2 or number 5, on how much we spend. And maybe we're number 2 or 5 comparing us with other comparable big cities who are as bad. Kids, now it's your turn. Kids aren't learning how to read. Would you give them some choice? Whether it was invest in kids, which I know you know about, earn tax credits, whether it's school vouchers, give them some choice. Let them try another school where they might learn how to read. Now your turn.
Yeah, first let me say that no one should be satisfied with our public education. That it's uneven, and we are not having the success that we should. And we need, again, a national strategy for funding and creating the best public school system that everybody can enjoy. But are there other things that we can be doing to
We
support
can't spend more money. We're already spending $34,000 per kid per year in
how
Chicago.
we spend that and where we make those investments, recognizing that different schools and different populations have different needs, but also recognizing that we want to invest in innovation and that competition is okay. So invest in kids, the notion of providing tax credits.
We had it. Pritzker killed it with other Democrats, no Republicans.
Yeah, I think
Your party Did you speak out against that? Did you
Look,
speak out for
look,
investing kids?
I recognize, and I think that so does the nation, that the Democratic Party, which polls lower oftentimes even than this administration, has its own problems. But that I think that what we need to do is start looking at education and the opportunities. We absolutely have to invest in public education. There's more that we can do. There's innovations there to be had. But I'm also not threatened by scholarship programs that lift people out and give them opportunity. That's proven to be very successful. And it does. We have an amazing infrastructure in not just the
You're
Chicago
not threatened
area.
by a tax credit, what I call another form of
Invest
school
in
vouchers
kids.
program.
I am not threatened, and
You're
I
not
don't
threatened by
think
it.
that we should.
You would have kept that program if
I
it
would
were
have
up
kept
to you.
that program because, one, it's very good for the 9th Congressional District, that we have a number of private schools. And
Could be
and-
Catholic schools, could be Jewish day schools, could be non-sectarian.
That's right.
They're all functioning way better, not all, but I would say the majority are functioning at a higher level
That's
than the
right.
public schools.
I think that the goal here is that all of these schools should be functioning at their highest level, and
And
that
so let freedom
invest in
flourish.
kids.
Take the money that they have in the public schools, let the kids, if they want to, city, state, and federal, walk over to that private school, which could be religious or not, and then they can at least learn how to read.
Well, let me be clear that I am not for a voucher program.
What's the difference
But-
between a voucher program and a tax credit program?
Because one thing is very clear with Invest in Kids, that was a scholarship program designed to help children that have no opportunities. That this is first
We
generation
got
kids.
60% of the kids across the
Well,
state of
we-
Illinois
we-
are in that
we
shape.
we
okay?
cannot rob
Why
Peter.
not give those 60%?
We cannot
give them
rob
all,
Peter to
give them all.
pay Paul.
No, you're not
I
robbing.
think-
You're not robbing. Everybody can leave and they can take their money, the 34K, and go elsewhere.
I'll tell
you're
you
not
what
robbing
my,
anybody.
what my vision is that we need a national strategy for refreshing and reinvigorating public education across the board.
Okay.
And that requires a very nonpartisan, non-special interest approach to what is the best practice in funding and delivering accountable, results-oriented education that is for this modern workplace, for the future that our children need. But adding to that a Invest in Kids styled program where folks are willing to make contributions, and if they get a tax credit, that's great incentive, because that is a program that was
So
targeted for
last
kids
we're running out of time.
who couldn't afford those opportunities.
It's not necessarily a federal issue, but you got a bully pulpit. Crime is rampant. Yes, it's coming down, but it's coming down nationally for a variety of reasons, and it's coming down faster elsewhere than here. And it's not safe in the 9th Congressional District in many areas, whether it's Evanston, whether it's Cary, wherever, okay? Crime, it's not safe. People are afraid of violent crime wherever they go. Not wherever, but in many, many areas.
Mhm.
And violent criminals are not being prosecuted. We've had that philosophy with our key state's attorney, Kim Foxx, not being prosecuted. They're not even being arrested when they should be. And then if they are arrested, they're not being prosecuted. They're not sentenced. Would you agree all of those things have to happen? And when they're convicted, they need to do time, not on probation. Society needs to be safe. Do you disagree with anything I've said?
I don't in this, that I actually believe that the number one function for government is to provide for safety. And we have to do that. And we actually know how to do it. And for many
How
of
do we do it? The things I suggested?
it is really a bit of a yes and. Yes, we need healthy, effective policing. And yes, we need accountability within.
And healthy law enforcement and healthy judges.
Without question.
A judicial system that works.
Yes, and with proper investment in an intervention. And here's what we know, is that Chicago has invested heavily in an intervention system that CVI, community violence intervention, and in the neighborhoods where that has collaborated closely with healthy policing strategies and a healthy police force and this intervention programming, we have been able to drive gun violence down by about 40%. So this isn't a question of just one part of the whole criminal justice system being healthy or emphasizing one. It's collaborating and recognizing that if we can identify at-risk youth and we can get the interventions in place, we can prevent violence. And at the same time,
Hopefully, but some we can't, and those people have
That's
to be
right.
punished and detained.
There's no
and
question.
kept to keep society safe in jail and then prison. That has to be done with some. We can't cure every problem.
The only
right?
thing that I would add to that, Jeff, is that yes, we need accountability within the system, but what we also recognize, the proper interventions, even post-conviction, can reduce recidivism at an incredible rate.
Okay.
So we
We
can't
got to
just,
get out. We're out of time.
you got it.
So you come back. We'll continue the discussion, and you come back next week and every week to Public Affairs.